Welcome to Trinity Archives. I'm Joe Lapinski.
And I'm Marissa Maggs.
And we are two archivists working in the archives of Trinity Church Wall Street. Trinity Church has a fascinating history that dates all the way back to 1697. And in this video series, we share pieces of that history with you through questions that you, the audience, ask of us, the archives. Can you explain more about pew rents throughout Trinity's history?
Since the concept of paying to rent a pew is foreign to some people, I thought we could further explore what that means. So it's worth noting that early pews were usually box pews, where worshipers sat around four sides of a square, which is certainly a more intimate experience than sitting on a modern bench pew. It makes sense that worshipers would want to sit in this little box surrounded by people they knew rather than strangers. Bench pews came later, although rent was still charged at that time. So beginning with our first church, pews were assigned to specific individuals. Both Governor Benjamin Fletcher and Richard Coote, the first Earl of Belmont, requested private pews in specific locations for their respective families in the earliest years of the church. In 1699, the collection of rent was assigned to several members of the vestry, quote, in order to clear off our debts. For a new church looking to establish itself and gain footing in a growing city, pew rents were a main source of income for the early years. In 1766, as St. Paul's Chapel is opening, the rules for renting pews in this new space were spelled out more clearly. First, the said pews are let for a term of 1 year to the highest bidder to commence from the first day of November next. 2, that if any tenant shall incline to surrender up his or her pew before the expiration of the year, they shall be obliged to give 3 months' notice thereof in writing to one of the church wardens. And 3, that if the rent is not paid within 3 months after the expiration of the term, that the church wardens and vestrymen shall be at liberty to let them to another tenant. It's also worth noting that at this time, only one corner pew was set aside for the use of what they called strangers. So although charging rent for pews was a common practice not unique to Trinity, it was still controversial because of the way it enforced a sense of inequality. Only those who could afford it were allowed to worship, as there was little room left for the public, and the ability to choose the location of one's pew put the most economically and socially advantaged in the prime spots. It was also common for the owner to deed their pew to someone else after their death or if they left the city, meaning that this inequality was easily perpetuated. Within Trinity Parish, rents didn't keep up with the pace of inflation and the income was deemed too negligible, and by the early 20th century, the practice came to an end.
That's all we have for today, but we'd love to hear from you. We welcome any questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them in a future video. Thanks for tuning in.